What's up, guys? It's Crash. There's been no shortage of Battlefield information over the last couple of days with an article on IGN from Vince Zampella talking about where they're at with the game. Then some executives talked at an investor day where the game is at right now. And now we go on to something even a little bit more granular with some leaks from Tom Henderson, none other than the man himself, Tom Henderson. And I might be making this video for me because if you guys are OGs, you remember when the channel got its start, we were talking about the leaks and the lead up to Battlefield 2042. You guys might not be as interested in this given how 2042 turned out, but man, it's just, it gives me a nostalgic feeling, a little bit of a throwback to talk about Battlefield leaks from Tom Henderson. So I want to talk about this article over on Insider Gaming because it gives us some more nitty gritty gameplay details as what's going on with the game from multiple sources that Tom has inside of DICE and EA. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on. I gave you guys a little backstory. Those last two videos I did on this channel have a lot of information about that, but let's talk about this one. I will leave a link to this article down below as well. So you guys need to click on that after the video and give Insider Gaming some traffic, man. They're one of the last kind of, you know, independent news websites out there for gaming. So definitely give them some traffic. They deserve it. So let's talk about what's going on down below. Gives a little bit of a summary about Battlefield general manager, talked about the game will have a large scale community driven testing. Now we talked about that yesterday, but why that's important, we got some more details of what that might be within this article. They're already talking about how it also has, you know, internal daily testing. So let's hope that's true, right? We're going into this, guys, eyes wide open based on what happened last year, and we heard, you know, or last time, and we heard that last time's title was way ahead of schedule. So we're checking things out for what they are, right? Insider Gaming reported the new experience that Vince Zampella talked about from Ripple Effect is going to be a free-to-play battle royale to tie in with the game's previous release. Now, they are saying free-to-play. I do not doubt Insider Gaming. We do have to remember, last time they said that the hazard operations or the third mode, we were going to have Portal All-Out Warfare for 2042, and they thought that that third mode was going to be free-to-play as well. Things like pricing and how games work and modes develop, especially at this stage of the development cycle, are constantly dynamic. I personally think that we'll get into how many maps and how many weapons and, you know, feature complete this game is going to be, allegedly, that if you have a free-to-play battle royale, I think that would be awesome to bring new people into the franchise. And again, I said it in my last couple of videos, I'm a Firestorm truther. I thought it was a lot of fun. So anyway, so the new free-to-play battle royale, take that with a grain of salt because things like this can constantly change. They might say later on, hey, we want to charge 20 bucks for it or 10 bucks for it. It is EA, so don't be surprised if some of those things change. But Insider Gaming understands we're going to get into like the basis and the lore, right? Like how we had the no pats and all that stuff this time. This is going to be much more grounded, it looks like. Insider Gaming understands the game will take place somewhere between 2027 and 2030. So, you know, around now times 2030, Jiminy Christmas, that's not that far off, dude. I'm getting old. With campaigns focused on massive private military going up against NATO, that's not hard to believe either. The game will be set in various locations worldwide, including Gibraltar, as seen in the game's first revealed concept art. That concept art we talked about in the video 2 days ago has now been confirmed to probably be Gibraltar, and the USA, which is also believed to be the setting of the battle royale experience. It looks like, from what they've seen, tropical locations in that. So if we scroll on down, multiplayer, right? The main foundation of Battlefield. So the aim right now is to currently have 45 different weapons on launch, double that of what Battlefield 2042 had in its multiplayer. We know how thin and like a skeleton of a game that was when it launched. In addition, this is big for me for Battlefield. If you guys followed along in the early days, multiplayer maps are huge for me. The amount of maps we have, they're talking around 10 maps to launch to put it in line with the likes of Battlefield 1, 3, and 4. So 10 maps, that's not a ton, but that's reasonable to what has gone on in the past. Now, the big difference we can see, and if you guys remember, Battlefield 1, 3, and 4, especially I feel like Battlefield 1 had a massive amount of post-launch support when it comes to maps. So 10 to start with, and then if we're, oh man, if we get down to like 3 and 4 maps every season would be so amazing. And that's what we can maybe hope for, since the maps are maybe going to be smaller. Maybe we can get 3 to 4 like complete maps every season. That would be insane. I remember Battlefield 1 when those, you know, they had like In the Name of the Czar, and they had all those names of those epic seasons, and they always had like 4 maps at least, and I would take off work for those days. I would get so excited for DLCs to drop in Battlefield 1. So let's hope we see that kind of stuff again. That would be really cool, man. Like the nostalgia is real, the cope is real. I know, guys, we have to keep it grounded, but this is just what's out there. Then they're going to talk about destruction. Now, keep in mind, in 2042, see, we're keeping stuff grounded. In 2042's lead up to that game, they showed off one of the very first things this time, in that cycle of talking about news and stuff. They showed new Frostbite updates. If you guys remember, it was like this grayed out, blocked out building that crumpled. Then they showed the close up of the guy blinking and talking about all the cool things that are coming into the new Frostbite with destruction. And we were all like, oh, it's a return to, we didn't know better at the time. We do now. It's a big giant return to destruction. Everything's going to be great. They could be planning on that. That technology could be there, but we know when it came down to the performance of 2042, the servers and stuff, we got pretty desolate, sterile maps with tiny little panels that could be blown out. Nothing like we'd seen before with Battlefield. And it always seems like kind of with the several Battlefield titles, there's been less and less destruction, the more and more kind of servers and netcodes have to keep control of all that stuff. And then I'm going to tell you about this and see what you guys think on this one. Over half a dozen sources, so not just one source, half a dozen sources have mentioned that the game would have caliber-based destruction akin to Rainbow Six Siege, with different calibers causing different amounts of destruction. So as somebody who plays a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, a shotgun makes a bigger hole. There's also like a 410 shotgun handgun, the bailiff, which is like the judge in real life. It shoots and makes a smaller hole. Pistols make tiny little holes. So they're saying it's going to be like that. Now, they've also, that seems like a lot so let's just break that down for a second. It happens in Siege a lot, and even Siege, a game that's been out for a long time, can get buggy with that kind of stuff. It took them several years to figure that out, because when you have minute details that come down to destruction, if you think about that, that information, that there's a hole in this wall right here, that information has to be kept track of on the server. It also has to be populated to the 64 other players. And that's a lot for the server to be cranking on. So maybe they have some really cool new technology that can handle that kind of stuff. They've handled large scale destruction in the past, and maybe there's something out there that lets them handle some of that smaller type destruction and stuff like that. Let's see how it goes. I kind of prefer the bigger destruction. Let's hope it doesn't get like Siege, where the meta is to put a tiny punch hole in the wall, lay and look through it, and then shoot somebody when they come into the room. I don't know how much fun that would be, but we'll see how that goes. If it's Battlefield though, you can use a tank and blow up the entire building, and who cares? But it's also understood that there was going to be changes to movement, with one example given by multiple sources, the ability to pick up and move down players. We've heard of that coming before. BattleBit had it. Gray Zone Warfare is going to be able to have it. And Delta Force had it. So let's hope that is the case, because that would be really cool. I'm also interested to see how the movement comes to the game, just overall normal soldier movement. I've said this time and time again, I think Battlefield 5's movement was awesome. I had manual lean. I could crouch sprint if I was sneaking up on a trench to try to get a tank. I could fall back on my back. It had sliding, and I could reload at the same time, but you couldn't spam it. There's no slide cancel. There's a cooldown. It slowed you down. You couldn't lean spam either. There's a cooldown on that. I thought the movement in Battlefield 5 was awesome for that type of arcadey game. I loved it. Now, this has almost certainly been incorporated for the Battle Royale experience, and we heard last time with 2042 that it was going to have the free-to-play, we thought it was going to be free-to-play extraction mode called Hazard Zone, and we thought that the game was designed around Hazard Zone. There were rumors going around that it was going to be an extraction shooter only based on the successes of Tarkov. That's some of the rumors why people think potentially, allegedly, the maps were huge, because they were designed for a Battle Royale, or they were designed for an extraction mode. Last second, they switched it up to be a Battlefield game. I don't know about that. I can't speak to that for sure. But you kind of have to be a little hesitant when you hear things being designed around, the Battle Royale experience. Some of those things can hinder the multiplayer experience. We'll have to keep our eye on that. It's implied that all these changes are part of the team's Battlefield Moments initiative. So it sounds like the team has an initiative to get Battlefield Moments back into the game. There were some, I think they maybe even took it a little bit too far in 2042, thinking that the heroes, the specialists would make you a hero and make epic Battlefield moments, where basically in Battlefield 2042, everyone was special, so no one was special, if that makes sense. Everyone was a hero, so no one was a hero. The thing that makes Battlefield moments, we talked about this after 2042 came out, the thing that makes heroes in Battlefield is being a normal, random infantry soldier, nothing special about you, but doing big, cool things. So that's what makes Battlefield Moments, in my opinion. You're in the big cog of this war machine, or you're a cog in the big war machine. You're just a little soldier on this big battlefield, and doing something great and epic as an average, standard, everyday soldier is what makes Battlefield Moments. So if that's what their take on Battlefield Moments is, then we might be getting somewhere. So Tom Henderson also goes on to say he's been told that the team is currently weighing up the name of the game. I have some opinions on this. Over the past year or so, the team has been carrying out mass surveys with participants voting on which game name they prefer, Battlefield or Battlefield 6. Let me know what you guys think, if you'd like to see it called Battlefield or Battlefield 6. If this game, this is a huge if right now, guys. We know next to nothing about this game. We're discussing it based on rumors and leaks and stuff because we enjoy the franchise, or we at least used to. What would you like the game to be called? If they can pull this together, if Vince is serious, when they talk about Battlefield Moments, when Vince Zampella talked about bringing it back to the Battlefield 3 and 4 days, if they actually pull this off, and this is essentially a new dawn for the franchise, I would prefer it just be called Battlefield. This is Battlefield, right? To restart, kind of like a reset on the franchise, to kind of start over and get it back to where it needs to be. So that's my hope, guys. Let me know what you think of all this stuff. Again, if you have time, check down in the description and click on the link and go give Tom and Insider Gaming a little bit of traffic if you don't mind. I would love that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'd love to see you on the next one.